Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is Spiguyver Backpacking. I'm glad you guys came back. This series is the series where we are going through my favorite backpacking gear. And so today we're gonna be talking about my favorite sleeping pad. Now, sleeping pads are something that if you've used one, if you have a favorite, you're usually pretty loyal to that and you've got really strong feelings as to why. I'm no different than anyone else. I've got a favorite. It's different than most people's favorite. I know a lot of people like specific ones. The two that come to mind are the Nemore Tensor and the Thermarest, either Neo Air or Therma or whatever, Therma Air or whatever it's called. But those ones, in my opinion, have some downsides and is why I went to what I went to. So why don't we get into what I use, and we'll talk about why I use it, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and why I think you guys may enjoy this one. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so what I use is this bad boy. This is the Exped Downmat UL Winter LW. So this is a inflatable sleeping pad. It's 3.5 inches thick. It's 77.6 inches long and 25.6 inches wide. It is insulated. It has down inside of it. It has baffles that keep the down kind of in place. You can shake it up, but the down really should stay where it is. And because it is pretty big, one of the cool things, it comes with what they call their Nozzle Bag, which is a pump sack. And you see it's a pretty large pump sack. If you fill this up about 3 times, you can fill this bad boy up. And so you're not sitting there blowing in it forever. You're not getting lightheaded, about to pass out. Really, you just kind of grab this, get some air in it, roll it down and pump the air through and into the sleeping pad. So why do I use a sleeping pad? Mainly I'm in hammocks, so most of the time I don't. There are some places that I like to go that I can't hang a hammock. And so during those trips, I'll take a tent and I'll sleep on the ground. And that's where this comes in really, really handy. I have gone through a lot of different sleeping pads over the years. Before I got back into backpacking and went to hammocking, I had done all my stuff on the ground. I've done trips through, along the AT through the Smokies where you have to stay in the shelters, and I've done other trips where we purposely plan shelter to shelter, and you have to use a sleeping pad laying on the wooden decks inside of the shelters. And so there's always a reason to have one. And for me, I toss around a lot in my sleep, and I really go to sleep a lot of the time on my side. And so having something that's thick, this 3.5 inch thick, really helps to keep my hip, my shoulder from hitting the ground. Plus, with it being as wide as it is, I can move around and not be falling off of it, which for me, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, you can see it's a pretty wide sleeping pad. Put in front of me, I disappear behind it because it's wide enough. My shoulders are on it, my feet are on it. I don't have to have my feet together. I've had ones that are the mummy cut ones that come together at the feet, and I end up with my feet off of it all the time. This one has an R value of 7.1. So it's one of the warmest ones out there you can possibly get, which will take you down to about a negative 30 degrees, somewhere right in that range. So keeps you warm. I wouldn't recommend this one for like heat of the summer, but shoulder season and beyond into the winter time, definitely the one to go with. Super, super comfortable. These vertical baffles are great, and the 2 outside baffles are just a little bit bigger, so they keep you kind of contoured into the middle so that you don't roll off the sides. And it's just the feel of it. It's a little bit loud, but it's not like the Thermarests at all. The Neo Airs, those ones are super loud, super crinkly. This one isn't too bad, depending on which tent you have it in. Now, sometimes the floor of the tent is really what's loud, and you moving around is crinkling the tent or the ground sheet that you have there. Cool thing about this one, with it having the lengthwise baffles, it's actually pretty good for using it in some of the hammocks. The mock hammock uses the lengthwise baffles rather than the across baffles to give it a little bit of rigidity. I've used this one in my bridge hammock, and it works really, really well in the bridge hammock. The one thing that you want to do is let a little bit of air out, because that 3.5 inches really does raise that center of gravity, and so it gets a little bit tippy if you're using this in a bridge hammock. And you can use this in a gathered end hammock, and again, you'll want to let a little bit of the air out, and that's the great thing. So it has these valves. It has both an inflate and a deflate valve on here. The deflate valve, if you open it up, is just going to let all the air out, but on the inflate one, it has a little button in here that you can press to, if you hear that, quickly release just a little bit of air. So it doesn't let any air out when there's pressure on it, so you can lay on it, reach underneath, and just kind of tap out until it gets to the firmness you want or the softness you want. Close it up, and it's closed. The deflate, you open that valve up, it'll let all the air out, and it actually folds up pretty small. Problem is, this thing is over 2 pounds. It's a heavy. I think it's about 33 ounces. So it's a heavier. It's a heavier sleeping pad. But what I ended up doing is I roll it up, and then I actually put it inside of this. Roll this up, and this acts as a dry bag sort of, and keeps it secure in here. I do have the repair kit. So it comes with a stuff sack, it comes with a repair kit, it comes with the nozzle bag to fill it up. But for me, the Exped Winter UL Downmat long wide is my preferred, my favorite sleeping pad. If you guys have any questions, any comments, leave them down below. As always, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button right next to the little bell icon. If you hit that, you'll get notifications every time I upload a new video. We will keep this series going, and the next one will be one people want to check out. So we've got the sleeping pad out of the way. We've done the sleeping system. Now we're going to actually put up the tent, and I'm going to show you guys which tent I prefer. That is the next one up on the list. So come on back, check that one out. Any guesses on what it's going to be? Leave them down below. If you guys have any sleeping pads that you prefer that you think I'd want to check out, leave those down below as well. Appreciate you guys checking this out. I'll see you down the trail.